Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jules, and on this channel I'm chronicling our family of three's journey to financial freedom. Here on the channel we talk about all things debt payoff, budgeting, planning for the future, and just generally living a life we love even on a low or unpredictable income. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, please be sure to hit the like button and also hit the subscribe button. We are on our way to 1,000 subscribers, which is so exciting. I did not set any goals for YouTube before I posted my first video because I really wanted the accountability more than anything. But it has turned into a really fun outlet and hobby for me, filming these videos and everything for you guys. So I have really enjoyed it and I'm excited to keep going. Sorry, I was just turning my iPad on Do Not Disturb so I don't get any annoying notifications popping up as we go through this. But today we are going to be going over my week 2 expenses for the month of August. I'm also going to warn you that I'm once again filming when my kiddo is with his grandparents downstairs, so you're going to probably hear him playing dinosaurs or trucks or something in the background. If you have young kids, especially toddler boys, you'll understand. But let's go ahead and backtrack to last Saturday. So this time last week, we actually had a no spend day. We did not spend anything on Saturday, nor do we spend anything on Sunday. So whoop whoop. No spend weekend. Very excited about that. Unfortunately, the rest of this week turned out to be quite the spendy week, not in a fun way. We didn't really spend much fun money, but we did have quite a few bills and expenses that came out. So let's go ahead and talk about those. So on August 11th, I did have to go to the gas station and fill up my car with gas. That was $25.10. And then we had the car payment come out on the 12th for $314.35. That was just our usual minimum payment. And the 12th was the day it posted. Technically it's due on the 10th, and then normally the auto pay drafts a couple of days after. Let's see. Next, I paid my sister $110. This is for last week when I was at work. I had my first weekend of work, and I paid her $10 an hour to watch my son during that time. Sorry, I had to grab some water. I am like, I'm sweating and struggling in this North Carolina heat. I just went and did like a deep vacuum on my car, and oh my gosh, it was brutal out there, you guys. So I'm still trying to catch my breath. So sorry if you can hear it in my voice. But we paid $110 for babysitting, and then essentially this will be quote unquote reimbursed when I get my paycheck from work. So that's that. I paid her. I wanted to make sure she had that money before she went back to college this week. And then we had my husband's Apple is only 99 cents, mine is $2.99. That came out on the 12th as well. And then we get to the 13th. The 13th. What a great day. This day I had to take my car in for its usual maintenance. I take it every 5,000 miles. I want this Corolla to last us decades upon decades and hundreds of thousands of miles. So I am kind of anal about taking the car in for maintenance every 5,000 miles, pretty much on the dot. I don't like to let it get too far past the 5,000 mile point. Again, because I want to take care of this car, so this car will take care of me. And then this time I was a little nervous because my brakes have been occasionally squeaking over the last couple of weeks as I'm braking, like as I'm approaching a stop sign or having to brake on the highway because there's traffic or something like that. Sometimes they've been squeaking, and I was like, I'm just gonna ask them to double check that. I was a little worried my brake pads were gonna need to be replaced. That was not the case. We live in the country and we drive on a lot of gravel and dusty roads. So the technician was like, you're probably just hearing the squeak when dust and dirt and debris gets in between the metal pieces, and then it squeaks while you're driving the car. Because he said the brake pads look fine, the rotors look fine, everything looks great with the brakes. He did say that probably the next time, depending on how long it's been like time wise and just general wear and tear on the brake pads. It's coming up, but it was not needed this week, so thank God for that. He did recommend one other thing that we ended up paying for. I'm not a car person, so I'm not going to try to explain anything that I don't actually know what I'm talking about. But we ended up paying $283.68 for car maintenance this week. When I do my YNAB update, budgeting the paycheck my husband just received yesterday, you'll see us covering the cost of this because we did not have this much in our car maintenance sinking fund. So we're going to have to do some switching. We do have the funds to cover it. Thank goodness we paid for it in cash. It didn't go on a credit card or anything like that, but we do need to pull it from some other sinking funds. We're going to reallocate some things. So you'll see that in my next video where we go and clean up our YNAB situation because it's kind of a hot mess right now. Next up, on the 13th, my husband has been out of state for work. He is at drill. He is a reservist in the armed forces. So he's on their way back from out of state, going back to their usual training facility. He stopped at Sheetz and spent $14.51 on food, and that came out of the drill fund. If you're new to the channel, obviously my husband is a reservist, but we have a drill fund that is specifically to cover his incidentals while he's at drill, because that is technically him going to work, and it doesn't feel fair to either one of us that he spend his fund money on paying for food and things while he's there, because it's not typically an option for him to be able to cook. He does try to meal prep if he's only going to be there for the weekend. He will take a cooler full of food and meals that he can reheat, but this time he was gone for about 2 weeks because it's his annual training, so that was not an option for him. So long story short, it came out of the drill fund. This, we normally try to keep about $50 in it, and so we will just replenish that at some point in the future. He still has, this was the first expense I think that came out of the drill fund, so he's still got $35 left in there, something like that, so he's good there. Let's see. Okay, and then also on the 13th, Wegmans for $5.90. So this was my personal spending. I did a little writer day at Wegmans with my sister before she went back to college. This was while my car was being maintenance. We went to Wegmans and hung out for a little bit, and that was really nice. So I spent $5.90. This was like sparkling water and breakfast for me, so I spent $5.90 of my spending money. And then the next day we went to Food Lion and only spent 90 cents at Food Lion. This is because we were trying to max out our WIC benefits, so I wanted to use all of the rest of the fruits and veggie allotment. We get $26 a month for fresh fruits and veggies, and we still had some money left on there, so I knew there was going to be some kind of overage. We got bread, milk, and then we got mushrooms, blueberries, and carrots, I think. I'm trying to remember. But anyway, the overage passed the $26. So we maxed out the $26 and used all of that. And then I paid 90 cents was what was left over. So we paid that at Food Lion. And then we went down the street and we went to Aldi and we spent $42.29. $40 of this was actually cash because we cashed out our coins. I have been sitting on my change jar for probably like 2 years now since I stopped cash budgeting and went cashless. And my husband and I had talked about saving it for Christmas and cashing it out around Christmas time, but we have started saving really early for Christmas this year, so we're not feeling that same pinch that we felt last year around Christmas. So long story short, we talked on the phone and my husband was like, let's go ahead and just cash it out and use it for groceries this week. So that's what we did. This $42.29 also included about $7 worth of household items because I didn't know Aldi sold pull-ups. And you guys, it was literally 50% of the price we paid at Food Lion to get the Bluey pull-ups. They had dinosaur pull-ups at Aldi, same size, more pull-ups in the pack for literally half of what we had paid at Food Lion. So technically this was probably only about $35 worth of actual food groceries, but that will last us probably the rest of this week. we are planning to go to Costco during week 3 of August because my husband will be back from drill and we do need some of our, we need to restock the deep freezer, which is what we typically do when we go to Costco. So anyway, $35 for our week's worth of groceries for our family of 3. Let's see. USAA, so this is the second half of our insurance bill, $64.29. That came out. And then we had our Mint Mobile renewal yesterday. This is an annual expense, so this is both my husband and I's phones for the entire next year. This, alongside car maintenance, we did not set enough aside. I, in all of my planning glory, forgot that taxes and fees are a thing, so I only saved $270, which was the exact amount of our plan renewals for both my husband and I, and nothing else above and beyond that to cover fees and taxes. So I have since adjusted the target in YNAB to be $315 for next August, and we're just gonna switch some of our sinking funds around to cover the overages in both car maintenance and annual expenses this time. Today has been a no spend day. We have not spent anything. I just checked our bank accounts a little while ago and there was nothing there. So I think we're gonna round out today with another no spend, and then we'll start our next week 3, with tracking, and I will update you guys with that. Look for my next video. I'm going to try to record and post it by Monday, and that's going to be updating YNAB and adjusting how our sinking funds are laid out in YNAB to cover some of these expenses. And then I also need to adjust the targets for certain things, including the dates that I want to have them saved by, because obviously we were planning to take the Corolla in for maintenance until October, but we unfortunately put a lot of miles on the car, and I always go based on the miles versus the time, again, to make sure that she's taken care of so that she will last us a long time and take care of us for a long time. So that is everything that we spent this week as a family of 3. Let me know how your week of spending went. I feel like we actually did okay. We didn't spend anything crazy, I feel like, on things that weren't necessary. Pretty much all of our spending this week, with the exception of, I guess, my spending at Wegmans to get breakfast with my sister for $5, was not technically like a need, but I feel really good about everything that we spent this week. It was a spendy week, but it was all things that we needed. We didn't spend anything crazy. We are really working hard to keep our spending down, and so far we've done a really good job in the month of August. I've been really proud of my husband and I for how hard we've been working. We feel so aligned about wanting to put the bulk of our energy and our money towards paying off debt as much as we can, even in this season of really inconsistent income, and just trying to get ourselves set up for a good financial future so that when my husband does graduate from nursing school and starts his career as a nurse and is making more money than he ever has in his entire life, we're set up for success because we already have good habits, and hopefully we have a whole lot of paid off debt so that money can be ours. But yeah, overall pretty good week. Let me know again in the comments, how did your week go? Did you have anything super expensive crop up for you? I know my friends with older kids right now are all suffering the summer stomach fatigue with the grocery bill. I am definitely scared for when my gargantuan son is a teenager and is wanting to eat everything in the house, but we're not quite there yet, so that's good. But I will talk to you guys soon, and yeah, I'm gonna end the video here before I keep yapping. Bye, y'all.